Well, good morning YouTube, and welcome back to Retired for Life. So the board you saw me start planing right at the end of the last video is for a little project here I'm working on for a neighbor. Right now it has just turned to December, so I should have lots of time to do this. She had this little planter outside and it's in pretty rough shape now. Everything's kind of cracked and coming apart. So what I want to do for her is make a new one. So we'll utilize that board that I started planing there the other day. Now, just a disclaimer, I am not a cabinet maker, I am not a woodworker. I'm a general machinist, a millwright, and a welder by trade, so I'm used to working with steel. This kind of thing is all a big learning curve. Some of the things I have seen on YouTube that woodworkers do, I find incredibly impressive. It's really something. These are people that have got the right equipment for it and have got the experience to do it. One of my favorite people to follow is the Samson Boat Company. They're in the process of rebuilding a pretty big sailing ship called Tally Ho. And it's amazing watching what those guys can do with wood. I'll put a link to that channel. And it's really something to watch. You should see it. So I am not anything like that. It's just learn as you go. I've got some equipment in the shop here now, so we're ready to start fooling around with this kind of stuff. And it's fun to do. You know, you learn something new every day. So this is the remnants of what I'm working with. Everything is cracked and coming apart and rotting, so we're going to figure it out and make a new one. So the widest piece I got here on my little ugly duckling is the base, and it's 7 inches wide. So we'll start with cutting my plain down board to 7 inches, and then we'll work from there. Alright, so there's our bottom. That's the finished size. Got front and back. I still have to cut the radius on them. And that is going to be for the head. So I'm going to trace this out and then cut it on the new bandsaw. We'll see how well that works. Alright, there we are. Now that's quite a tight corner up in there and going around the beak here. So I think I'm going to cut this part out on the bandsaw and then finish this little bit up here on the scroll saw, because it'll turn much tighter than the bandsaw will. Well, there's a good start. All right, let's see how the scroll saw does to finish this up. Well, there we are. Now we'll do some sanding. I definitely need to get some more blades for this because I am pretty much out of a decent sharp blade. Well, I didn't get very far yesterday. I had to spend half the day getting my Christmas baking underway. I didn't film that. I didn't think you guys would be that interested in that. But what I did was make the first couple of batches of shortbread cookies. Now this is my mother's recipe. God bless her. It's a really good recipe. I really like them, and it's very simple, very easy to make. And I still have the original recipe card that she wrote it out on for me quite a long time ago. Probably, well, over 30 years ago. But I'll put a shot of that up on the screen here so you guys can see the recipe and give it a try if you want. They are really good. The next thing I have to do is a snack dish called Megabites, which is a little bit on the spicy side, but goes really nice with a beer. So I will put that up here too, so you can see the recipe for that. That's a little more complicated to make, but boy, they're worth it. So back to the duck. So we didn't get that far yesterday, so I've got the head pretty much done and the base. So everything is being made out of pine, and I've planed this down so it's about 7/8 of an inch in thickness, and everything's come out of the same board so far. So this is 7 inches across and 9 1/4 inches long. So that's the base for it. And then I've got the ends that go on there. So the ends are 7 inches across, of course, and 5 1/2 inches high. So you can see the similarity coming along here. And the duck head will get fastened onto here. So I'm going to cut a notch down through here just to give it a little more secure hold and glue it in. That's one of the things that came apart on this one. It was just drilled through and it split the piece there. So I still have to cut the side pieces. I'm going to make a small change here, I think. I'm going to make each one of these start with the standard length, then go a 1/2 inch longer, 1/2 inch longer, 1/2 inch longer, just to give it kind of a little fan out there. I think that'll look nice, and if I don't like it, I'll just cut them off. So I've got to cut these next, and then I want to cut this slot down through here about 1/4 inch deep for the duck head, and then I've got to cut the radiuses on the two ends here to fit how this goes together. So I'll have to figure out just what that radius is. So this has been the first little job with the shop all laid out, and just on this job I used my miter saw, I used the planer, I used the table saw, I used the jigsaw, and I used the coping saw. So all on these little pieces, and it's been a real treat to have everything just there. The only thing I have to do is take the dust cover off when I'm about to use them, and then turn it on and away you go. And I don't have to push it all back out of the way at the end of it. So I like the layout so far. It's working quite well. Anyway, what we'll do next is get these pieces cut and ready to go, and figure out the angle here, and then I'll get the radius, and then I'll get the slot cut for the duck head. So let's get on with that. So that only gave me 3, so I need another board. So I'm gonna go out and get that, and then we'll cut the rest of these. You know, I'm thinking it would be kind of fun to put a tail on this. The original one doesn't have one, but why not? We'll give it a try. Yes, I'm just freehanding. All right, we'll go over to the bandsaw and cut this and see how it looks. All right, guys, so this is the narrowest blade I've got for the bandsaw. It's a bit tricky to get it to line up, but let's give this a try and see how it works. Well, there we go, one ducktail. We'll do a little bit of smoothing out and work on these curves a bit, but I think it looks pretty good. Alright, so there's our tail. I've still got to do some finish sanding on that, but let's see how it looks here. I like it. Yeah, I think that'll be a fun little add-on. But that means I need to put a notch in the back plate as well. All right, let's get the rotor table set up and start doing our little notching. All right, guys, this is not a very fancy router table, but it was inexpensive and it does appear to work okay. So we're going to take about 3/16 of an inch out of here. So I've got a 3/4 inch cutter, which means I'll have to open it up just a little bit more after that. So let's see what we can get here. Well, it did the cut quite nicely, but I don't think I'm deep enough. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Found a fault in the tail. Look at that. I got it fitting perfect, but I didn't notice that. Well, there's the head. Now, let's see what we can do with the tail. Well, it looks like our tail is going to be just fine. It's not quite as long as it was, but that doesn't hurt anything. So, I'm going to get this cleaned up. It's going to take a little bit of tricky sanding down in here to get it fixed up. And then we've got to get the radiuses on the front and back pieces that we just notched. Well, that looks okay. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Well, time's getting on. I've got to get into the house and get changed. So we'll get packed up and put this away for the day. Now tomorrow we are going into the National Arts Center to watch the Nutcracker. So that will be quite fun too. We're starting to get into the real festival celebration season. Well guys, we had a very nice trip yesterday into the big city. We went to the National Arts Center and watched the Nutcracker ballet, and that was a lot of fun to do. Met some relatives there, and then went back to their place for cookies and drinks, and it made for a very, very pleasant evening. Really enjoyed it. Now, as for the duck, we've got pretty much all of our parts made here. I've got some trimming to do to them now. I want to put a little rounded edge on the outside edges of the wings. And then of course we've got the radius to cut on to the front and back piece. And then we'll be ready to do kind of a dry fit to see how everything fits before I actually do the staining and painting on it. So, been a fun little project. Very nice to get this thing replaced and hopefully get it ready and down to Donna before Christmas. But for now, that's going to be the end of today's video. Next video, we'll get back to work on the duck and then move on to other things. So, thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you out on the trails the next time.